really hard, but at the same time, it was so great to finally cross that finish line and come out with a full season. So yeah.
It paid off for sure.
Thanks. It was so. It's been so rewarding just to see people, even to this day, commenting on it, just laughing their asses off about the crazy things going down in it. It's really awesome. So yeah.
I still maintain that my favorite scene is probably the "You will be the next Adolf Hitler."
Where Armin.
Yeah, I remember when I first saw it, I was just like, this is amazing. And I rewatched the episode like 3 times just in that one day. Just because it was so hilarious.
For the best of their knowledge, Adolf Hitler was just a cartographer. He was just a world explorer. He might have been conquering lands, but they don't know that, so...
I think just the way you nailed it with Mein Kampf. That just sealed the deal. Jesus Christ, they just went there.
Yeah, episode 5 is where Armin just really takes a really dark turn. I mean, he's been dark the entire time, but oh my God, he discusses his plans for med school. He discusses, his books that he's been reading, his role models. You really start to see that this is a kid who has a lot of problems and a lot of issues.
That's one understatement.
Yeah, that is the understatement of the year. Writing an Armin scene is always like so much fun because it's just an exercise with, okay, how messed up can I make this? It's really fun. So.
I think something most people appreciate and notice the most of is all the little details, like you pointed out, like the Mein Kampf thing. Or my favorite thing from Armin was that original first episode he was introduced in, where he goes, "My Greek historical tomes," or something like that.
Yeah.
It's the little things like that I love personally.
Awesome.
Gandhi, the god of war.
Right.
Was that a Civilization reference, by the way?
It actually wasn't. What that came from was a very good friend of mine, Jamie, for his 21st birthday, decided to be responsible and get completely plastered. And
of course.
And we decided to start writing down some of the things he said. And it turned into a hilarious night where I still have the list laying around here. He started asking if you could get an STD from having sex with a polar bear, and just like really obscure, weird questions. And then all of a sudden, like we thought he was kind of like just starting to, just get tired. Up. Yeah. And he was getting real quiet and everything. And then all of a sudden he bolts off out of the couch, stands up, like his chest is puffed out and everything. His eyes are widening. Just looks at us and he says, "Gandhi, the god of war." Everyone just burst out laughing, and that was, from that moment on, Gandhi has been the god of war in my book, and he forever will be. And then I started playing Civilization, and he totally is the god of war at that. So it's really hilarious when he just says that your race needs to be crushed and annihilated. I'm like, damn, Gandhi, that's kind of extreme there. You might want to chill out. Like, making this show has been just so much ridiculous fun. And I wanted to throw in, like, what you were saying about these little things. I wanted to throw in as many of those little things as I could. Obscure little fucking things that maybe not everyone's going to get them, but the people that do are just gonna really enjoy it.
Well, there was one joke that I just got yesterday. Like, I was just thinking about the argument between Vermin and Armin, and I just realized, wait, you wouldn't know this because you're a virgin, but casualties are my favorite form. That's what he meant.
Yes.
Because you're just so good. You have multiple layers of humor written in.
Well, I really wanted to make the characters as fleshed out as possible. One of the things I approached it when writing it was I wanted to create some awesome characters for this parody. Like I just wanted these characters to be like really fleshed out, and just all of them have horrific flaws and things wrong with them, and just every single one of them has some quirk, some flaw that just completely debilitates them. And that's life inside the walls and the Slap on Titan. it's a bunch of really terrible people trapped inside these walls
with horrible things happening around them constantly.
Oh yeah, and I gotta say that I think as far as like writing a parody of an anime goes, that doing a parody of a dark anime is so much more rewarding than if I tried to do a parody of an anime that already is lighthearted and happy. I do have to say that like parodying a darker anime is a lot more fun, and there's a lot more opportunities just because dark shit's going down that normally it happened in real life, people would be freaking out and losing their minds. And in the animes, usually they are losing their minds. But when you overdub them, you can make them say like, stuff like, oh, it's too bad that Fred's gone, but I really wish I had a hamburger right now. Or just something really obscure and random, and just, it provides a little twist, it turns that screw a little bit more.
So to keep going down that road, I want to revisit a topic we talked about before the last time we talked, which was some of the challenges you've had writing for the show. Like, I know we talked about the scene with Eren and Mikasa and the scene where her parents get killed. Like that episode, we talked about how tough that was.
Yeah, I remember I was sitting back there and like I had gone through 5 episodes by that point. I was constantly watching those episodes and rewatching them, just writing out whatever I could to just make light of it. And all these dark things are going down. And then episode 6 comes, and I'm just looking at it, and I'm just like, okay, fuck this. I'm not sure. I'm not gonna try to make this shit funny. I'm just gonna point it out what it is, and the sheer horribleness of the situation will make it funny itself. Just by pointing out just how horrible and messed up this anime is.
Well, that's really satire at the base level of it, isn't it? Though.
Well, I would not claim to be any professor of satire or anything. I just put in voices over characters and make them say horrible messed up shit. But yeah, I would agree with you.
So as far as it goes, then, like when we talk about you writing these things for these characters, is that an example of the hardest thing that you've had to figure out something to do with, or like what's the hardest sort of like who's like if you have a character that's hard to write for, or like a scenario otherwise, or like a piece of dialogue that was hard to write for, anything like that?
Certain scenarios are pretty hard to write for. Episode 9 was probably the hardest episode for me to write. A lot of that was that I felt this huge pressure to do Levi right. Levi just, I couldn't half-ass him. He had to be done correctly. Cause I mean, it's Levi. It's everyone's crazy about him. And, that was kind of a stressful thing thinking back on it. And I went through a lot of like, rewrites and drafts of, okay, maybe he does this, maybe he does that. Also, I just couldn't find that much material in episode 9 to really make light of. For some reason, like, I mean, we had Connie and Krista and Ymir talking, and Hani's on the wall, and then a really long scene with Eren and the commander shouting back at each other. And with that scene, Eren and the commander, that was all right, but the other scenes where people are just talking at each other, I had to find some way to twist that, something messed up that they're talking about, or something, some odd way to take it so that it brings humor to the scene.
So you made it the lesbian orgy.
Yes. And Connie trying to pursue his dreams of being a midget stripper at their lesbian orgy. Which, by the way,
Scotty.
By the way, that subplot will continue come season 2.
Yes.
I can't wait.
Oh yeah, we're going to see just how well that turns out for them. But Connie's going to be kicking something off in that scene. I'm very, very excited
for this season.
Like it's going to be. We actually are going to have to spend an entire day of recording just for that one scene alone. And that'll make sense later on down the line, but it's going to be pretty epic. So
going back to talking about Levi, because it was such a challenge, like looking back on it now that you've done it, like do you feel more confident about Levi going into the second season now that you've kind of established him a little bit? Like established what you want for him,
Yes, I do feel quite a bit more confident now going in with Levi. I feel more confident with the voice. Levi was just something that I was honestly, up until the point when episode 9 dropped, I was honestly kind of terrified to see how people were going to react to him because I always I have to say, Archer was a huge influence on Levi's character. Like, just a complete douchebag who's just obsessed with himself and just obsessed with his skill and just, is just couldn't care less about anyone else below him. So I wanted to kind of really get that kind of vibe going with him, and I wasn't sure if that was going to translate well at all, if people were just going to be turned off by him being a complete asshole. But yeah, now that I've seen people's reactions, I feel pretty confident for season 2, and I think people are going to